Sorry, it's not in my character, but the times that we are in, it's difficult to manage your time. I was in a meeting till 3 a.m. this morning. I resumed another meeting at 8. I was supposed to leave for Delta State for 3 different meetings at 10 o'clock. I left at about 11:30. I got into Delta State to receive the Ohanese women who traveled from the 36 states of this country to Delta States to honor me and to endorse our candidature. I had to also do an empowerment program for our children, our youths, whose businesses have suffered some loss as a result of the inflationary tendencies. I had to receive some decampees. Before I could finish, well, it was already 5 o'clock. So I actually left Delta at after 5. We got to Abuja here and we drove straight here. Please pardon me for running late. Thirdly, I want to thank the people of the South for organizing themselves in the FCT. It is not easy to so do. And for the leadership that has been able to put our people together, I truly must thank you, because it's not easy, obviously not easy. But since you have put yourself together, you have created some strength. And I find out in what you say, South, strength of the nation. We thank God, because the strength is in our collective will, and I can find it in you, and I must truly thank you. Fourthly, I want to thank you because you're relating very closely with your own now, because you have the South, but you're resident here, and this place is very important to you. You're relating very closely with Senator Philip Aduda. That's the right thing to do. And I found in him a very simple and interesting man. When we were in the Senate together, 2011 to 2015, and ever since then till today, he has remained that very friendly person that relates with everybody. And I believe that he's a blessing to this place. We have listened to some of the complaints, even what the request he has made. I know that he has advanced this request already before the presidential candidate and my person. And one thing is very clear concerning the issues of Abuja. The Federal Capital Territory has already been recognized as a quasi-state of its own. And when we are talking about the elections, you say you have to get a spread in 24, that's in 2/3 of the state, including the FCT. That in itself has recognized it as a state of its own. Abuja may have been small, the Federal Capital Territory may have been small in the past, but now in population it has grown to populations higher than that of some states. And therefore, they are deserving of everything that also other states of this federation deserve. And I believe that the request that he's making is right. And I thank God that he has started to shout about it. Because sometimes in politics, you shout about the request of your people ahead of time. And I believe that we're going to work with him to actualize a lot of this, because we cannot afford to play with the Federal Capital Territory. And I know that he's a man that has a strong voice, and we have a strong voice in the incoming administration. I want to truly thank you for honoring this call to listen to me today. First, I bring a word of thanks to you, because even without seeing me, you have gone ahead to organize to support our candidature. I am very grateful because it's a great honor done to me. And I pray that God will also honor you at the time of your individual election. Secondly, is the fact that we are in very challenging moments in the history of this nation. Many of us are worried because we do not know what tomorrow holds. What we are seeing in the last 8 years is possibly not the kind of thing we dreamt about, and neither is it one that will make us happy. So there is work to be done. And that work to be done requires that everybody has to be ready to be part of the work process that will bring a positive movement in Nigeria that can truly touch the hearts of our people and give us the real hope, not the kind of hope that is being promised by the APC. You can't bring something down and say that you want to bring hope to us. It's not possible. An APC government continuing after today will just bury Nigeria. They have done a great lot of damage to us, and we must be cautious what we do going into the future. But the situation about Nigeria now is that we find it difficult to even trust ourselves because we don't even understand exactly the kind of nation we run anymore. We have not been fair enough to every part of this nation. But I know, because I was part of it, that during the PDP administration, we tried as much as possible to be fair to every geopolitical zone of this nation. We do not leave positions that are weak to some zones and positions of strength to others. We try to do a lot of balancing. That is an inclusive government. And it is only when you run an inclusive government that you are able to build trust among the people, build trust among the Christians and the Muslims, and build trust across the geopolitical zones. They must realize that even in governance, when people are seated, that they have their own who have a voice that can speak. It's not exactly such at the moment. But I know that a PDP administration will not follow that path. We came in 1999 at a time things were really, really very bad. Right from the military, we were able to rebuild and to take us gradually out of the depths, out of the difficulties. And the economy continued to grow. It's not that there were no challenges, but we were able to pay back the debt. Yes, there was still some debt thereafter, but it was minimal. But today, we are struggling as a nation to service our debts, not to pay the principal. That is not the way things will grow. We cannot grow together in that manner. And we believe that there is a lot of work to be done. The insecurity is getting worse, despite the promises that in 6 months, the insecurity problem will be solved. Last year, most of our children in public institutions were at home for 8 months. That is the greatest frustration you can give to any family. That I have a child in the university and he sits at home for 8 months doing nothing. That thing happened in Delta State. We have 4 universities. The 4 universities were running. There was no strike. And all our undergraduates were in school because we know the importance of education. And we believe that what needs to be emphasized must be emphasized. Education must be given a priority. The health of our people must be given a priority. That is the easiest way you can attend to the life of the very common person who does not have the resources beyond government to be able to educate their own. And therefore, we must not at any time pay lip service to education. And I believe that the economy has gotten this bad. It has never been as bad as it is today. So we require men who have a clear understanding of what to do to be able to take Nigeria out of where they are. There is a difference between people who sit down and talk, who read things and cry. Nigeria requires experienced persons at this point in time. And we know that you cannot afford to learn on the job in a crisis situation. Atiku Abubakar has been vice president at a time that it was difficult for Nigeria. So that experience matters a lot. Beyond that, he is somebody who is humble. He is somebody who is ready to talk with all, both the private sector and the public sector, because everybody must work together. He's one man that I know has a very large heart. How you know such a person? Yes, he's a Muslim. But when I walk into his house and I look around, I see lots of Christians deeply close to him. Two very important persons in the life of a person. The man that takes care of your health, your doctor. The man that gives you food. I wouldn't even call it cook now because the relationship between him and Morris is so fantastic. It's like father and son. But this both, the doctor and the person who takes care of his stomach, are both Christians. It's not easy to have it as such. And when you look around him, you find that you even find more Christians than Muslims around him. We need people who are tolerant to both faiths. Somebody who will be tolerant with the Christians and tolerant with the Muslims. God created this country. In most countries, you have a huge population of Muslims and a few Christians, or a huge population of Christians and a few Muslims. But in Nigeria, God created us and put a huge population of Christians and a huge population of Muslims. God is all wise. Nobody questions him. He did it because he expects that we should be able to live together, work together, and build a nation together. Therefore, any leader who truly wants to lead Nigeria must allow everyone to confess his faith and to practice his faith, whether Christian or Muslim, without hindrance. He must be tolerant of all faiths. He must be liberal to all faiths. That is the Nigeria that we seek. So it's not a question of making it look like today, as some people try to make it. That it's about the Muslim faith or it's about the Christian faith, or that there's a fight between Christians and Muslims. If that is what you seek as a leader, how would you bring Nigeria together? It means that there will be continuing war and disagreements. We cannot build a nation under that circumstance. We want peace in our nation. We want to be able to secure our nation. Yes, the police force, the military, they are all there. We have also promised that we are going to amend the constitution to allow states that are willing to have their own police force. Because we think that it will help to solve the insecurity. But beyond all this, until we are united in one purpose, with the same mind that we want to build our nation and to develop it to be a great nation together, working together, we may not be able to achieve many other things that follow. Even the recovery of the economy and the building of the economy is also partially dependent on the ability of each and every one of us to tolerate each other and to work together. And this, we believe, is doable. Atiku and myself We have talked a lot. We have a document, our covenant with Nigerians. We mean it, we stand by it, and we work with Nigerians. And everything we think we ought to do, every single thing has been outlined. And it's not something that was developed after the primaries. It was developed before the primaries and released on the day of the primary. Of course, he also haven't nominated me. And that is how you know a Democrat, and who also understands that there is also something that his vice president can contribute. He sent the economic team to stay in Delta for 1 whole week, and we sat down and looked at the document, and we also made some amendments to improve it and came out with the final copy, our document. And that says, our charge and what we believe we can do for Nigerians and with Nigerians, working with Nigerians. And we believe that we're able to do it together. We definitely will be working with the whole of Nigeria in an inclusive government to change things. It's going to be a difficult task. It's not an easy one. Many people tell us, they speak on television, they make it look easy. They are lying to us. That was how APC lied to us. And they told us they were going to do this and this in 6 months, in 1 year, they didn't do it. In that document, we have outlined what we'll do. We have been sincere about it. I want to be sincere to our people. But we know that we're able to turn things around. Here, I am your son. And I thank God that you have decided even before I came in here to start working for me. So I'm a representative, not for the entire Nigeria only, but specifically also for the South-South, because I will be a voice of the South-South in the government. Our brother talked about some of the issues, those who have worked and they cannot find a space. But we thank our brothers because they are also appointing supervisory councillors. But I know that it will go beyond that. Because if you recognize, you are politicians, you are working, and therefore you will be recognized. But we cannot say that we're going to appoint everybody, but at least give recognition to the group. And I think that is important. I want to promise you that. This level of organization that you put yourselves to is very commendable. And we want you to take note of the fact that it has registered in my heart. The distinguished senator lacks a lot of fanfare. He was saying, oh, they would have brought in a lot of us. And I say it's good. But I didn't want a rally. I wanted to meet with the leaders so that we can sit together and have a talk that truly reflects in our hearts. In a rally, it's noisy. You're speaking to people, you don't communicate everything, and they are not able to communicate with you. But there will be a time to have a much larger section. But this was what I wanted. So I'm sorry. The people at home are important, but I know that as leaders, you are able to communicate with them. But we have had an atmosphere in which we are able to exchange ideas. And I thank God that I've had the opportunity of listening to the leaders of the South-South. Just yesterday, I flew into Lagos because there was a strong request by the South-South in Lagos that they needed to meet with me. I flew into Lagos for that meeting, and I left there very excited because they also put themselves together. And I thank God for that. And I'm glad what we're doing. And I believe that as the strength of this nation, as we work with the rest of Nigeria, as we drive the pathway together, we definitely will be able to change the course of Nigeria for the better. There is no doubt about that. There is help on the way. And I want to assure you that beyond appointments, in every other thing, including entrepreneurial programs and support programs, which has been promised for the youths and the women, particularly across this nation, that the SCT will benefit, and the South-South in SCT will benefit. The South-South in SCT will benefit. I thank you for this. We are not mixing words. They said, how will we raise the money? When Atiku Abubakar said he was going to reserve $10 billion to support businesses for women and youth. And we asked the question, there are so many government enterprises and companies that are wasting away. It's only a man who does not think deep that remains little. And when he said, I was going to sell the refineries, people were saying, oh, he wants to sell our assets. When you have an asset that you keep moribund, and every year you put money in the budget, you service it, but it does not work. You are doing a disservice to the people. First, the refineries are not producing petrol. And secondly, you are spending money to service it in turnaround maintenance, it works not. The jobs it would have created is not creating. It is not right. The private sector is a sector that is meant to run such businesses. So the great advantages, it's not just one, is that when you sell it off to the private sector, we will raise that $10 billion, which we use to support people to grow micro businesses and small businesses. Secondly, the people, the consortiums that would have bought it, they will make it work. So one, it will generate employment. Two, it will now begin to produce. And possibly, it will not produce all the PMS needs and HO needs of this country. But at least it will produce a part of it, so that we cannot keep on importing as we import today. And that the importation has continued to impoverish us as a nation. So we'll be creating jobs. The refineries will work, and we would have been able to raise money to support our youths and our women. So for people who think in very lowly ways and said, whoa, why would we do that? I don't think they are reasoning. The world is moving. We cannot continue to remain in our past. We must move forward and move with the trend of things. The private sector must encourage to lead the economy of this nation. That is when we'll be able to grow as a nation and have a future for our children. I thank you. I can't spend all the time talking about it, because sometimes I begin to get passionate about it. But I thank you for coming. I'm proud of you that you've been able to put yourself together, and I thank you for the love that you have showered upon me and my brother Philip, Senator Philip Aduda. May God give me the opportunity to reciprocate this. Work hard as we move on to Saturday. By the special grace of God, I'm a child of grace, and I know that we'll win that election. By the power of God, not my own power. We have looked through this country, we've gone on campaigns. We know that we are best positioned to win that election. And God alone, our Father in heaven, will make it happen. It will surely happen in Jesus' name. I thank all of you. We will rejoice together. I'll be back here to speak with you. But thank you so much. As Vice President-elect, before being sworn in, it's a promise. I thank you for what you have done. You have shown me great love. You have shown me that I have a people here. You have shown me that I'm returning back home. May God bless you. May God bless you.